Well, it's all about the US presidential debate. That should be the first bout. We're going to have another bout towards the election. Definitely, we are going to know. There are so many talking points on this particular debate, how it's going to affect the prospect of Joe Biden and, of course, Donald Trump. Before I launch this clip, I really want you to get to meet my guest today, a lecturer in Uniben College, right, of Medicine, Medical Sciences. We talk about international relations, local relations, and politics. Well, grand enjoyment to welcome Honorable Frank Amego. Appreciate your coming.
Thanks for having
So
me.
it's all about the debate between Joe Biden and, of course, Donald Trump. Before we delve into the discussion, I need you to watch a snippet of what transpired in course of the debate. Have a listen.
What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 million, billion dollars, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
President Biden, you would be 86 at the end of your second term. How do you address concerns about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
Well, first of all, I spent half my career being criticized being the youngest person in politics. I was the second youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent.
Former President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in as good a shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced them.
We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
He did do a damn thing, and these people should be in jail, and they should be the ones who are being held accountable. And he wants to let them all out. And now he says if he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that it could be a bloodbath.
On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible.
Will you pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins, And you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable.
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to. And I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people that went to the Capitol and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility, not mine. She said that loud and clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a great president because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political opponent because he indicted me because I was his opponent. Russia would have never attacked if I were
President Trump,
president.
the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them up to a very high level because the people understand it.
Well, let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, you continued, you appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue to provoke this lie about somehow there's all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There is no evidence of that at all. And I tell you what, I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner. The idea, if you lose again, you accepting anything,
Now you just saw what really transpired between the sitting president and the one that really want to come up to lead America. From what Donald Trump said, he said, look, I'll have been somewhere chilling, I'll be somewhere relaxing if he is doing a good job referring to Joe Biden. We'll be talking about this debate, we'll be talking about all these things that transpired. That video caught CNN when the debate was on, and that is going to come across of our discussion today on International Forum. Your presidential debate, the prospect of Joe Biden and Donald Trump. I have Honorable Frank Amigo. Well, you saw the snippet. That debate took hours. You understand, it was like, Americans, over 48 million of them, over 48 million, they were all tuned in to listen to what these two barracudas really have to say about the state of the nation, why they will be the one to really make America greater, will I say great again. Now, from your own analysis, how do you view this debate in terms of response, in terms of the issues that has to do with American society and, of course, the world at large?
First, to congratulate President Joe Biden for having a large heart to be part of these debates for 90 minutes. Number one. Number two, to also congratulate both of them to discuss the matters of America based on issues. I didn't see any personal attack here. And it is the first time in history. So whatever thing would have transpired there, there were some advantages and disadvantages for both of them. For President Donald Trump, if they had a studio audience, I don't think he would have talked this much. He would have been distracted. He wants to attend to everything, rationally or irrationally as the case may be. Joe Biden, maybe because of his age, I was thinking maybe he's getting too old. But if an octogenarian can stand for at least 90 minutes, that can in a way validate his suitability for a comeback. All what we saw Trump did was in anger. Let's attack. That's his usual way of approach. He came prepared. Let's attack this man. And I tell you, Wilson, that presidential ticket is not a debate. You would have been very eloquent, speak good English, but that doesn't translate to capacity for a particular position. Certain things you saw Joe Biden do, it wasn't as if it's a case of dementia. No. He's a calm person. He was thinking of what to say and not to talk rashly and later come back and apologize. So I want to praise his efforts. He has done so well. He's the oldest American president ever. So we can even call him Pa Joe Biden. A Pa, were to be from Benin or Nigeria in general. So what transpired in this debate, things having to do with economy, abortion, and tax.
Now, let's start picking it one after the other. Let's take a look at what really happened in the course of the debate where the sitting president, Joe Biden, lost his chain of thought. It was so evident that American people are like saying that, come on, something is definitely wrong. Even amongst the Democrats. After that debate, you get some of them saying, Mr. President is like rather too old for that position. Don't forget the anchor asked a question. You are this years old right now. In the next 4 years, you'll be 86. How do you think you'll be able to cope considering the age factor? And it played out there. He lost his chain of thought. He forgot some of the things he needed to say at a particular point in time before the anchor now had to come in. And Americans, they are not happy about this. Even the people from his own party that are saying, look, sir, you have to step aside. Let someone else carry a Democrat to the next level in course of this election. What do you feel about this particular incident that occurred?
Yes, what happens wasn't strange. It's a normal thing. If you're at a point of making statements for the whole world to hear, maybe at the same time.
Not to a U.S. president.
Well,
Not to a U.S. president.
He's a human being. Let's not be biased. He's a human being. Where would have agreed that he doesn't have the capacity anymore is to have spoken off points. He didn't. He didn't speak off points. And if some few Americans are using that as a yardstick for them to say you can't be the next president, I would have asked them, given the opportunity, that at what age does someone lose his or her fundamental human right? At what age? So he says he wants to do it. He has a mental capacity to do it.
All right, let me take you back a little bit. Before this debate, an incident happened where President Joe Biden was guided in the right direction because he was going towards the wrong direction. You have to be ushered to the right direction. That sparked other uproar in the American society. Now, that was the first incident. He doesn't have a sense of direction at a particular point in time. And now in this debate also, he said, "There's stuttering. You now have to leave the point to recuperate, so to speak, at 82. 4 more years to go. I don't think the Americans have the right to say, look, sir, you have to give it to a younger one." Democrat Donald Trump said, I go for checkup every day. I go for IQ tests every year, so to speak, and I ace them. Why can't Joe Biden do the same? Through the question at Joe Biden, because right now it's all about the age, health status, and you being able to absorb the pressure of governing one of the greatest nations in the world.
That was what Trump just wanted to say. You know the way he talks, Wilson? He blows things out of proportion.
But where's the lie in this?
If you visit your doctor yearly, that does not make you want to find out where your opponent, at what time he visits his own physicians. Joe Biden is that mature to not to respond to that. Even if you go visiting your physician per second, that's your business. It's not issue-based. Of course, with the caliber of President Joe Biden, don't you think he will have a personal physician or physicians? He will have. So the checks they conduct on him regularly is not for the public to decide. So if some Americans will want to hold on to his age, Joe Biden's age, it is not a matter of debate. It's a matter of casting the vote. If you don't want to vote for him because of his age, let it be. But there are still some...
They are linking his age to his mental capacity.
which didn't play out
That's what
here.
they're linking it to right now. That look, you're like, 82 right now. You don't have the mental capacity to absorb pressure of the Oval Office. Step aside.
If really he had no mental capacity, his own personal physician would have told him. He himself would have known. I want to drag issues here now because if someone doesn't have that mental capacity, he could stand for 90 minutes without any aid. Nobody tried supporting him. Or along the line of debate, his legs are weak, so let's get a chair for him. Nothing of such was done. If that was the case, I would have agreed with you and some very few, maybe minority Americans holding sway to his age. If, as I asked before, at what age in America does someone lose his fundamental human rights? Joe Biden still has the right to say he could vie for a position. If he made some mistakes, which is part of governance, and is able to realize it, then it's human to say, okay, I should have done a bit better. Okay, give me the next 4 years, I will perfect everything that I've had in mind. Whatever grievances, whatever things I have done in the first 4 years, I'm sure by the next 4 years, irrespective of I'm going to be 86. 86 years old is not an age to die, to say he's not capable. He's sound. He couldn't forget everything. Look at what Donald Trump did. They asked him, irrespective of who wins this election.
We'll come into that.
Yes.
We'll come into that because it's about, will you accept the result or the outcome of this election, whether you win or you lose the election? And he gave an answer. What is so wrong about the answer he gave?
That is his response showed clearly that he's a desperate man.
In what ways?
They told you, they didn't tell you if Joe Biden wins, would you accept? That's when that response would have been relevant. That if it's been free and fair, I will accept if Joe Biden wins. The question was generalized, irrespective. It could be you, it could be Joe Biden, it could be some other contestants. So he's shooting himself in his own foot by saying it has to be free and fair. In other words, if he also wins, would he want to accept that victory? Would he still subject it to fairness and freeness of the election? So that shows clear desperation. That he had options of living elsewhere, but because of the need of the Americans to salvage the situation, that's why he came. It's a lie. He's there for his selfish reasons. No matter does that. Of course, there are common grounds for all politicians. A politician loses now, is going to try to come back. He looks at one thing that you're not doing so rightly. So he will leverage on that as if he's going to do it better. He's not going to do it better. If the economy is nosediving, the economic challenge we have is global, but that of Nigeria is more global. So if Joe Biden is putting things in place to resuscitate the dwindling economy back to the way they want it, then what we should be testing, it will be the indices upon which he wants to use to revamp the economy, not a direct attack on him. That, okay, you are coming to make the economy bounce back. By what process or procedure are you going to use? He didn't mention that. All what he's saying is he doesn't like the way Joe Biden has been administering this America, this. Nobody should like it. This is his own pattern of administration. What should be left for Donald Trump is the court cases before him. Are you aware that he has over 30 felony counts? And by June 11, this month, the sentence will be due. So he's not thinking about that. So those clapping for him to come back to presidency, when he has a lot of criminal cases leveled against him.
It's like you're forgetting about the Supreme Court judgment in this particular matter that he has gotten partial immunity of that nature, and that supersedes all other cases because right now he's gunning for the #1 position. And that is a major victory for Donald Trump and his team, the Republicans.
Can I also remind you, immunity, partial immunity, no immunity, does not exonerate you from the crime that you have committed.
Now, talking about crime, this was all brought up in the debate. Now, Biden said, you're like, a convict, an ex-con, so to speak, because of being to jail and back.
Yeah.
Donald Trump said, look, the reason why I was convicted is because you were the one witch hunting me. Take it up from there.
There was no witch hunt. 2020 was it a witch hunt? The Capitol and all that, was it a witch hunt? The exposure of some secret documents, was it a witch hunt? If we could reverse what happened now, take it to be that what is happening to Trump now happens to Joe Biden. Trump will blow it out of proportion. It will resurrect that is a convict or an ex-convict. You have a judgment, a sentence coming up now. Today is 2nd. In the next 9 days, we're going to know whether Joe Biden will still run this race of presidential. Because the felony, I think 34, 36 counts. You have not been able to come out of it. That you are casting aspersion on someone that is doing what is right. That you're coming back as a president is to fight, not to bring to bear the dividends of democracy.
He never said he was coming to fight. He said he wants to make America great again. He gave his stances. He said when he was as the president, people fear and respect America. That when this man came in regarding to Joe Biden, America is now a laughing stock.
By him.
That was what Trump said.
Yeah, by him. How can America be a laughing stock? Do you know that if not the efforts that Joe Biden is putting in, if we're to be Donald Trump, he's a close friend of Putin. A lot of things would have been done so wrongly because of some personal interest. It would have even empowered Russia to finish Ukraine. But because of the astute tendency of Joe Biden trying to regulate a lot of things, this is not a time or season of heroism. Things should be done discreetly so that the next person will be able to read the lines. Oh, this is where we are going to. There should be a map. Not that you just wake up today and say, this is what I'm going to do as a military dictator. So what I see in this whole debate, let's wait till 11th of this month, which is 9 days from now, to see what the sentence will be like. That is guilty is not controvertible now. Is guilty is guilty. 34, 36 felony counts that is been charged off is not a matter to start all over. It's been concluded. And the court has designated 11th of this month, July 2024, that the sentence will be pronounced. So as if people to wriggle himself out of that, to say it's coming up for a debate. If we're to be that Donald Trump was a sitting president, he will not allow this debate. He will not allow it. As I said initially, that Joe Biden has a large heart to have accommodated such a character and be placed before everybody for a debate.
Now you raised 2 points. Talk about Donald Trump rejecting the debate and not about in America. Debate is standard.
But not a sitting president and a former president.
Standard. Because right there, they really need to hear what you have to say. Don't forget also, when Hillary Clinton and of course Donald Trump were debating, they were doing it in means of a mini audience, so to speak. Apart from this that was done between both of them, of course, the anchor of the particular debate. But if you take a look at all this scenario, Trump said something. I would have been chilling. Hadn't been either indicate interest of vying or running for this particular seat. You will not hear about this indictment. You will not hear about these court cases. I will just be on my own because this man is not doing a good job. I choose to come out, hence the witch hunt. And that has always been his cry, that this It's a political witch hunt. They don't want him to be there because they are afraid of what he might do vis-a-vis when he wins the election.
Yeah, I want to take this statement to be that you are quoting Donald Trump or you are not believing him. If you believe him, to be unfortunate. You will believe him.
I'm asking the question.
Yes, you only quoted him. Was he witch hunted before he did all these criminal acts? It wasn't. Was there a situation whereby the people of America rose up against Joe Biden that your rule or your reign in America is highly, it's kind of a disappointment? There was no case like that. He's just fighting for himself. He did one term. If he was truly a good president, a sitting president will be won. The person that won you at home, all match, you lost out. He was a sitting president when Joe Biden won him. So now that he has won, you are going to play an away match and you are boasting that you are going to win that away match. You can't. If he was the kind of president he's claiming to come to do now, if he could do that, why did he lose? You know, one thing about elections I've observed is that once a candidate loses, you'll be looking for excuses. Yeah, as I've always said, though you counter that a bit, it was just a debate.
So Americans, it
Yeah,
wasn't just a
Americans,
debate.
they like
It's
debates.
about assessing what you can do for the country.
Yes, it's easier said than done. You know, if you allow Trump to talk, they will even ask Joe Biden to be incarcerated. That's the way he talks. He talked and talked in the single term ever he had, and discovered that he could talk much more than he can do. And that's not what the American people are looking for.
But this is contrary to what what Donald Trump stood for when he was the president. He talked about immigration. He saw to it. He talked about America being respected globally. The man saw to it. People are saying that what he promised then to do during his campaign at his first stint, he did almost 90% of it. Why would you say he talks, but he doesn't do?
Yeah, that's part of the talk you are just justifying. Before he came on board as a president, was America not respected? After he left, is America not still respected? If he's going to come up with some statistics, before I came on board, the respect the world had for America was 10%. While I was president, it rose to 25%. While I left that place, it became 0%. There are no figures like that. It's not that if you gave him an opportunity, he will talk endlessly. There are a lot of things he has said, the people just ignore. You know, at the time, he insulted one of our former presidents here. Should you expect us to respect him? He's talking about respect for America. Do you have respect for other nations of the world? You know that we appear docile. Anything about him should be a thing of disdain. Oh, I beg. He doesn't have regard for the next person. That's one of the reasons he was not voted back into power. And to me, as a person, I would have some bits of remorse not to contest again. Because what will happen second time? Once beaten, twice shy. Twice beaten, nobody knows. So it's going to create a forum for us to assess twice beaten, what will happen. So if I were in his shoes, I would have looked for a sackcloth and some ashes put on my head. What becomes my fate come 11th of July this year? That should be the thing he should be pondering upon. Instead of dragging a sitting president that is doing so well. If he wanted the good of America as a whole, the first statement, I listened to the debate, the first statement should have made would have been to commend the effort of the sitting president for allowing such a debate first in history. Two persons, a sitting president, then the former president, coming to talk, standing, not sitting down, for 90 minutes. The first thing is to commend that opportunity. Irrespective of the things he's going to say against the sitting president, that commendation would have been helpful. But he didn't do that. That's why I say he came in anger. Anything that they ever asked him, that did not agree with his feelings, he dodged it. Going back to what one of the moderators asked him, that irrespective of who wins, what would you say?
But he gave an answer.
He didn't give an answer.
He said if it's free, fair, credible, he's going to accept it. But if it's not free, fair, and credible, definitely will not
He
accept
didn't
it.
say how he dodged the question. He dodged the question.
He did not dodge it. He answered the question.
I'm going to tell you how he dodged it.
How did he dodge it?
He knows he's going to fail.
Are you not being
If he knew that word, irrespective, including you, what if you win? Would you accept the results? If B wins, if C wins, will you accept? That's the meaning of the question. Irrespective. So he exonerated himself from that question. So he knows that he won't win. That's why he's saying the victory given to somebody else will be based on the fairness and the freeness of that election. He has forgotten that he's a participant in that contest. Otherwise, there will no need for him to say if it's free and fair. Irrespective. What if, maybe if you were the moderator, would have asked me, what if you also won? They were diplomatic about that. Irrespective of who wins, what will be your take or your stand on it? He's already showing anger. He has already nothing in mind that the election will not be free and fair. They also asked him in one of the questions that would there be a kind of a fight back, maybe try to work against the state and all that. He didn't answer it directly. If I were in his position at that point, he without anger would have said, oh, I will accept it. Because you're not accepting it, you don't also believe in yourself that you will win in that election. So he's just believing that they are going to skew the results in favor of Joe Biden. So that's the anger with which he came. So if what he has seen done, America is on fire, to say, let me come and rescue America. A good person in terms of debate should be to understand what your opponent has been doing. He has attended to 50 roads. Good. But given 4 years, instead of 50 roads, I will do 500 roads. That shows that you have a good heart towards the governors of America. You just rubbished what Joe Biden has been doing, thinking that you're going to do it better. Were you not there before? If he did it better, that would have endeared him that second-term position. He has not done the post-mortem of how he lost. If he has done the post-mortem and he had seen the results of the atrocities he committed, there would have no need for him to come up this time. And that is why once 11th of this month comes, a sentence is placed, all of this will not be anymore.
You keep hearing on this sentence like
Yeah,
you're
because
getting
he's
about
found
the
guilty.
Supreme Court judgment.
He's been found guilty.
Partial immunity, but all the same.
Partial immunity does not suggest
Let's
that you have been exonerated.
Let's look for the American law interpreters to really work on that. Let's take a look at the instance. They talked about immigration.
Yes.
He said Joe Biden did a banged up job in terms of immigration while he was the president. Immigration was regulated to the extent that you didn't see or hear of people dying along the borders. And what is happening right now, you see or hear of people trying to cross in from Mexico. You get to see so many incidents that is among the failures of Joe Biden. And really, it's happening right now in America. What do you have to say about that?
Yes, you just punctured Donald Trump's point. People are immigrating from Mexico.
Illegally, don't forget.
Wait now, immigrating from Mexico to U.S. It means U.S. has improved. Otherwise, the reverse should have been the case, that people are running away from America to Mexico. So if U.S. is not doing well, why will Mexicans be rushing in illegally? If checks are not there, why would they want to come through illegal means? The checks on ground was what prevented people from coming in indiscriminately. The regulations there made them to be scrutinized to know that this person is qualified to live in the U.S. or not. So Donald Trump's point is doesn't have a foundation. If the reverse happened, such that Americans are now living into neighboring countries and is unchecked, then that point will be valid. That point will still have been valid if Mexicans were entering into the U.S. unchecked. So it was a check in place that made some persons from Mexico to become illegal immigrants.
No, some are saying it's because of the prudent measure of Donald Trump. That was the reason why the illegality of some persons entering through Mexico into U.S. was impeded and stopped. And hence, it benefited American society. All of Joe Biden coming to the scene, that method was rubbish, and you got to see what is going on. Even in the past few weeks, the past few months, to the extent that Joe Biden needs to revisit that law to bring back what Donald Trump put in place.
That point is debatable. It's just like a common scenario. You went to the market to buy a live chicken. The seller of the chicken will hold the two wings, 10,000 naira. The buyer will hold the chicken and press. Say, this small fowl, say, give me, not go kill him. So what Donald Trump is doing is to escalate things beyond proportion. And that escalation will not help him, because the reality on ground is known by all Americans. It's not to come on air to be shouting all that, immigration laws here and there. If that was a true situation, we have the legislative arm. Was there an objection raised? Were there issues along that line that Joe Biden wasn't doing the right thing as far as immigration was concerned? There was none. He's the one raising it. He's the one raising it. Okay, as a true American, you have the American at heart. Why did you, long before now, why did you tell Joe Biden, my dear colleague, as a former president, please help to check this. As is done in Nigeria regularly, whereby a sitting president in Nigeria here will invite former heads of state or presidents for a meeting. We've heard of seen on screen that former President Goodluck Jonathan will go to Aso Rock to see former President Buhari that time. But as he made such a move, it's not enough to come on air and be blasting. A thing you couldn't do. If what he did then was the right thing, was it sustainable? It was the insustainability of his actions that is unraveling all these things, is coming back to tell us that he's doing. He didn't put sustainable programs on ground. So a review of those programs is what Joe Biden is doing now. You don't just cross your heart when it comes to public matters. You cross your heart over a matter and not knowing that one day will come, you will leave that office. No position is forever. So whatever thing he knew best to do then, he did. Now somebody else is in that position. The best way to it, the best approach is what Joe Biden is doing. And Joe Biden should not and must not, even cannot, use a pattern of governance. Otherwise it becomes a second class. So Joe Biden is viewing it in a way that is more civilized. A way whereby a third person will say, oh, this thing is a duly followed process.
If it's in a way that is more civilized, how come it's now reverting back to Donald Trump's own methodology of handling immigration problem?
Yeah, because no one method may be sustainable.
So you now agree that Donald Trump method is not that crude as you are alluding right now?
The timing is what determines the decisions you take.
Because at first you said Donald Trump's method was crude.
Crude, yes.
And now you say it's going back to Donald Trump's method. How come?
If he did, that makes Joe Biden a rational person. Your decisions are based on timing. If I told you nobody can pass through this door, then after a long while, and I said, people can now pass through it. That would simply mean that there were things I was trying to put in place. And now that I put those things in place, this place is now a walkway. I won't say out of anger or out of self-centeredness, because I once said no way here, so forever no way.
All right. Now let's take a look at the case of Russia-Ukraine war. It was brought up by the anchor in course of that debate. Donald Trump said something. He said, hadn't been that it was the president, that war or this war between Russia and Ukraine would not have happened. Take it up from that.
What do you expect him to say? Learn beneath this afternoon. Nero Wagbe police.
Please interpret.
The person that is not having the opportunity will come to say if I were in that position, I would have done it this other way. Because he's seeing the direction of the war. He is not saying I would have gone the other way. So to me, it's baseless. He should be patriotic. I'm not saying patriotism in him. I'm not saying it. He wants to just come on board to do one of those things.
No, he said he's a patriot. That's why he's coming now to fix
It's not,
America.
it's not.
He said he wants to fix America.
He's criticizing what Joe Biden is doing. Anything Joe Biden does is against him. And he's against whatever Joe Biden does. So such a person cannot be satisfied. No matter how good you are, so you would have been better. What's your height? 5 feet. Would have been 6. So there's nothing you are going to do. Even if the policies and programs put it on paper, give to Joe Biden, he will still condemn it. Because he is not the one doing it. Donald Trump, the P there is pride.
Your own definition.
By my definition. Over the years, I have assessed him. It is someone that does things proudly, bogusly. It may have little or no substance in it. But he wants you to show, he wants to blow his trumpet, hence the trump. He wants to blow his trumpet. The sound that comes out from the trumpet is a trump. So he wants to blow it. Whether you're listening or not, he wants to blow it so that he will get his attention. By coming out publicly on CNN now to castigate what Joe Biden is doing, he is thinking he has made a point. He hasn't. At the global level, he hasn't. Whatever that Joe Biden did that was right, he didn't mention it. Are you saying this past 4 years, Joe Biden did one thing that was good? You should thank you for putting this camera here. But when I come on board, I have several cameras.
All right. Before we call it a wrap on this discussion, let's take a look at the prospect of these men. The debate has come, and of course, gone. Americans are thinking over 48 persons, 48 million Americans observed the debate, and they have so much to say about this debate. Now, from your own angle, because Joe Biden said, let's see, come November, let's see who'll be the one to really, really dance at the end, who will jubilate at the end, paraphrasing, meaning that he's sure of winning. Do you see the U.S. president retaining his seat, or Donald Trump coming from behind, so to speak, to knock him off the Oval Office?
Between you and I, you know that Donald Trump won't win.
No, this is your opinion, your question right now.
You know it. I'm going to draw your attention to it. Back to that question. Irrespective of who wins. So he's not putting himself as someone that will win. He is just attacking. Whosoever wins, it has to be based on fair, credible election. What if you won? That's a loser's point of view. So he believes he's not winning. Of course, you see it in November, he's not winning. So he is ready to create some challenges along the line, because he knows he's not winning. Because if he will win, that question would have been properly answered. The answer to that question is, I will accept. Because you are part of the race. But you're just saying, who wins, he will accept. If you can play that clip, say if he will accept if the election is free, fair, credible. That means he has lost. That's the meaning. He's not winning. He knows he's not winning. It's just to show, just like if you cut off the head of a snake, the other body will still be wriggling here and there. That's what he's doing.
But he's saying he's going to win the election. His
He's not
followers are
winning.
saying he's going to win the
From his own
election.
channel, you heard it.
And opinion polls are saying that because of the age of Joe Biden, they are turning towards Donald Trump.
Age will not count. Now, that I asked earlier on, that at what age in America does a citizen lose his fundamental human rights? Joe Biden still has the right to contest an election. There's no constitutional provision to exclude him.
Is preventing him from contesting, but does he have the mental capacity at his age? Does he have the stamina? Does he have the health? Does he have the connectivity of the mentality of a president to really absorb the pressure that is, surrounding the Oval Office? That's a big question right now before America.
That question has been answered by standing for 90 minutes. He has the stamina. 90 minutes. I'm sure you have not tried it. To stand 90 minutes on the spot. Try it for 30 minutes and you come back to this house and declare it. 30 minutes.
Well-
A man stood for 90 minutes, you say it's not fit?
Well, gentlemen, you can see that he's in love so much with Joe Biden. Definitely, he's given his own point, but everything will rely on Americans becoming out there to vote. Honorable, thank you so much for your wonderful analysis.
I
Our time
appreciate
is up
it.
on the call it to wrap right now. Americans, they've been watching, they've been talking, they've been speaking. The next point is going to be maybe another debate subsequently. Well, after that, they'll go out there in the polls to vote. Who do you think the poll will favor? Only time definitely will tell. Bye for now.